They are hoping for some salary increases as we've seen attendance rise across the league. Rivaled basketball league and the WNBA. We know the WNBA is currently in CBA negotiations. We've seen viewership go up, at least with Indiana Fever games. And, of course, games that Caitlin Clark is.
Could the WNBA be on the brink of collapse? Tensions are boiling over as players chant, "Pay us what you owe us," demanding better compensation and respect. The league is in its so-called golden era, with record-breaking ticket sales and attendance. But how has all this growth skipped over the players themselves? And if the WNBA doesn't act fast, a lockout might not just end a season. It could change women's basketball forever. You won't believe how close the league is to complete chaos.
We know they're trying to get more money. I suspect the owners are going to try to get more games. Maybe even next season, they're going to look to go to 46, 48, or 50, right? The players want the season extended, all right? And it should be a little bit. I mean, they're playing.
Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great. Thank you so much. Now, back to the video. You've seen the headlines. Record-breaking ticket sales, sold-out games, TV ratings on the rise. For years, the WNBA has been advertising its golden era. The league keeps expanding, gaining more fans, and adding new teams. From Cleveland to Philly and Detroit, those expansion fees alone are now soaring at $250 million per team. That's a whole new level of big business for women's basketball.
Of course, Evelyn DR putting it out there that Nafisi Collier and Brianna Stewart, of course, vice presidents, they're co-founders and owners of the Unrivaled Basketball League. It is a rival league. NBA owners do not want these players playing in other leagues and would like to see Unrivaled go away, etc.
On the surface, it looks like everything is finally clicking into place. But for the players, that's not the story they're living. Let's break it down. The minimum salary for a WNBA player is just $66,000 a year. That's it. In one of the fastest growing leagues in sports, many players are still taking home paychecks that barely scrape the middle-class threshold.
The average salary in the WNBA is under $150,000, with the league minimum at $66,000. Reportedly paid its players an average of $225,000 last season, with no player making less than six figures.
Meanwhile, NBA players get 50% of basketball-related income. WNBA players? Just 9.3%. The math doesn't add up, especially when you realize the league's revenue pie is growing bigger every season.
Now, this right here is the number generated. It's the NBA generated revenue is $11 billion in 2020, approximately $200 million. However, despite this revenue, the league is projected to have operated at a loss. The NBA actually did operate as a loss due to them owing the team owners, bro.
The players are seeing the growth, but they're not seeing the benefits. Take Caitlin Clark, for example. She's been lighting up the court, pulling in massive attention to the sport, with sellout crowds showing up just to watch her. Clark's rise proves how much untapped potential exists in women's basketball. But here's the problem. That attention isn't translating to better pay, better conditions, or even charter flights for the players. And that last point isn't just a luxury. It's a constant complaint around the league. This is exactly why we're starting to see players take matters into their own hands. At the All-Star Game warm-ups, over 40 athletes stepped onto the court in shirts reading, "Pay us what you owe us." If that's not a public cry for change, what is? But it's bigger than paychecks. It's about players feeling like this league doesn't fully value them. Sure, expansions might bring shiny new teams, but where's the investment in the actual people who drive this success? If the league doesn't listen now, it might not be able to recover later. Because when the stars walk, the league follows. That brings us to what could be the WNBA's biggest threat yet, Unrivaled.
More, they're going to look at these players as investments and they don't want their investments damaged playing in other leagues. From financials, but they got a lot of money backing them from TNT Sports and a lot of investors. Salaries are going to increase. They're about to give raise the salaries.
What if the WNBA's biggest stars decided they'd had enough? What if they walked away from the league entirely and built something new? Well, that's not just a what if anymore. It's happening. It's called Unrivaled, a brand new league that's catching more eyes and gaining more ground than anyone expected.
Like that, we saw ticket prices plummeted. We know the ratings have gone down this season, but another women's professional basketball league, Unrivaled, has already secured most of its roster for next season. Quote, "We have a few spots left open to fill, and then we're pretty much ready to go."
This isn't just a rebellion. It's a movement, and it's led by some of the WNBA's most recognizable names, including Nafisa Collier and Breanna Stewart. These aren't just disgruntled players. These are game changers, and Unrivaled is their answer to years of frustration. So what makes Unrivaled so different? And why is it a genuine threat to the WNBA?
They're co-founders and owners of the Unrivaled Basketball League. It is a rival league. Of course, Evelyn DR putting it out there that Nafisi Collier and Breanna Stewart, of course, vice presidents, NBA owners, do not want these players playing in other leagues and would like to see Unrivaled go away, etc.
First off, it's offering something the WNBA doesn't: real money. Players aren't being asked to settle for the same meager paychecks they've been fighting over for decades. Instead, the structure is built around fair pay and consistent support for its athletes. But it's not just about higher pay. Unrivaled is also offering practical solutions players have been begging for, like consistent charter flights. Imagine not having to squeeze into cramped commercial airplanes and deal with flight delays while trying to compete at the highest level. Yeah, this is the kind of respect players have been asking for. The message became crystal clear when Nafisa Collier wore an Unrivaled t-shirt during the All-Star Draft. This wasn't some quiet criticism of the WNBA, it was a full-on statement. She might as well have shouted, "We've got options, and we're not afraid to use them." It's hard to overstate what a move like that signals to the league. This wasn't an individual agenda. It was a challenge to WNBA leadership to resolve the problems players have been highlighting for years, or suffer the consequences. If even a fraction of the league's top players jump ship to Unrivaled, it could start a tidal wave. Fans pay to see star athletes. Sponsors go where the audience goes. And where the money flows, so does the POW.